Hi, my name is Jane Hersey, and I work with the nonprofit Feingold Association. We're an organization that helps people figure out whether certain things that they're eating could be contributing to a variety of problems. It may be a behavior problem, it may be a learning problem, or it could be a health problem. And we also help people find the foods that they like, but in a much healthier version than what they may already be eating. Now, I'm going to be talking about a lot of foods that I brought. I'm going to be talking about all the funny things in food, and believe me, there are a lot of funny things in food. But I'd like to start out, first of all, with a box of cherry Jell-O and ask you if you have any idea how many cherries it takes to make a box of cherry Jell-O. Well, take a look on the back and you'll see that the first ingredient is sugar, and then gelatin, etc., and then a lot of funny names. And then right at the bottom, it has the name Red 40 and Blue 1. Red 40 and Blue 1, what on earth is that? Well, we know there are no cherries in this, so they have to get the color from something. Red 40 and Blue 1 are names for food dyes, synthetic colors. Now, these are not made from berries, they're not made from vegetables or roots or anything like that. When you see a color followed by a number, that tells you that it's made from crude oil, from petroleum. And not only that, but most of the dyes that are used in food in the United States start out in petroleum refineries in China. And they're allowed to have a lot of toxic contaminants, including heavy metals like lead, arsenic, and mercury. The good news about food dyes is that many of them have been banned. In fact, most of them have either been discarded by the industry or banned by the government. The bad news, however, is that there are still an awful lot of them that are in use. And typically, the majority of food dyes tend to be used in products, not just foods, but beverages, medicines, and vitamins that are designed for young children. Well, what's such a big deal about some artificial colors in food? After all, they've been around for a very long time. In fact, they've been around for more than 100 years. Well, that's true, and it's also true that children used to eat them. However, the big difference is that years ago, children ate them quite rarely, and they didn't eat them in such quantity. For example, if you go back, about 50 or 60 years, a child might get a lollipop when he went to the bank or the barber shop. Perhaps he would pig out on artificial candy, artificially colored flavored candy at Halloween or at Easter or maybe at Christmas. But there was a big difference because these children did not get these chemicals in practically everything that went in their mouth. They didn't have red, white, and blue striped toothpaste. They didn't have green mouthwash. They didn't have multicolored vitamins. They didn't have fluorescent cereal. They didn't have bubblegum flavored medicine in a neon pink when they got ear infections. And you know what? Back then, ear infections were quite rare. Very few children got them. Another thing that's very different today than many years ago is that teachers never gave out candy. The idea of a teacher giving out candy in the 1950s was just laughable. Not only that, but schools did not have vending machines lining their hallways. And another important difference is that today, the food served in school cafeterias are really bad. Now, I'm not talking about whether they taste good or don't taste good. I don't remember children ever liking the taste of cafeteria food. However, those Salisbury steaks and the hamburgers and all the things that they used to serve children were actually made from real food. Today, many cafeterias, thinking that they're saving money, use products that when you find out what they really are, they aren't food. They're foodless foods. And it's no wonder that children are having a lot of problems in school today. So if you go back many years, actually Jell-O goes back over 100 years. And when Jell-O was first invented, it was a combination of gelatin and fruit. Sounds pretty simple, doesn't it? Well, the problem is that gelatin that's made, such as this, that's made with real fruit, is more expensive than gelatin that's made with synthetic flavor, artificial colors, etc. So the companies, not just Jell-O, but many companies, gradually found that they could save money by putting in synthetic ingredients instead of real ingredients. So there was less and less fruit in the Jell-O and more artificial flavors. Now keep in mind that the purpose of an industry, of a food manufacturer, is to cut costs, sell a lot of their product, and make a high profit. So every time they substitute artificial flavoring for real flavoring, or substitute synthetic colors for the real fruit, then they save money. Now, what's such a big deal about artificial flavors? Well, they are made from what? Anything, actually. Artificial flavors can be made from anything in the universe, and there are no rules governing what goes into a food as an artificial flavoring. So that can create a lot of problems. Most artificial flavors are made from, guess what? Petroleum. Not only are foods filled with artificial colors and flavors made from petroleum, but most of the common preservatives are also petrochemicals. Now these go by very long names that are hard to pronounce, so generally they're listed by their initials, BHA, BHT, or TBHQ. You couldn't pronounce them and they couldn't fit them on the label, so they abbreviate them. And guess what? Another thing that comes from petroleum, all those fragrances that are being used in non-food products, the artificially scented markers and stickers that children use, they're even being put in toys, they're put in household products. Well, how can industries afford to put perfume in these things? Well, it's easy. Most fragrances today come from, guess what? Petroleum. And even the expensive perfume that you got for Mother's Day doesn't come from rose petals. Most of the perfumes come from petroleum. And whether you swallow it or whether you inhale it, it's petroleum, and it can do a lot of damage to different people.